Hello. Thank you for being here. My name is Kara Goodwin, and I'm the host of the Meditation Conversation podcast, soon to be known as the Soul Elevation Podcast. So, today I want to talk about the times where we feel in our spiritual journey that we're actually moving backward or backwards. I'm not really sure if it's backward or backwards. Anyway, so a lot of us, at least me, I'll speak for myself. I wish that I was always moving in a forward direction. I wish that I could feel that, I wish to be enlightened, I wish to be ascended, and I want to get there as quickly as possible in the straightest path in the least amount of time. And it can be frustrating when I either feel like I've gone backwards or that I'm just not really going anywhere. Like I'm just stagnant. I don't have a lot of inspiration or a lot of energy. Those things can feel really frustrating. So let's explore this because everything truly is part of our path. And it's part of the way that we are moving toward our goals. It's the way that we are moving toward our ascension. And sorry, I forgot to put myself on do not disturb. Um, and even when we feel like we've gone backwards, we're still actually moving forward. It's actually highlighting things within us that we need to resolve in order to clear out our energy fields and move forward. So, what would some things be that make us feel like we're going backwards? Maybe there's something that we feel like we have already kind of gone through that we feel like shouldn't show up in our lives anymore because we've learned the lesson. And here we are again in it. So maybe it's something to do with a pattern in our relationships where, we felt like at one point we were a doormat and we really got to a point where we were feeling empowered, and then we find a new relationship and maybe we're a few years down the line and we're recognizing these patterns again where we've are kind of lost ourselves in a relationship. Or maybe we used to have really jealous tendencies and we were very just caught on a downward spiral of feeling like everybody else was, we just were envious of things that people had, and we really directly confronted that, and we felt that we'd overcome jealous tendencies, and then something amazing happens to somebody we're close with and we feel jealous again, and we're like, I thought I took care of this already, why am I feeling this? Or maybe there's some grief that we have worked through in our past, and we feel like we've come through to the other side of it. And that person's, maybe their birthday comes up or something really reminds us of them. And we find ourselves again feeling this sadness, this grief. And there are an infinite other amount of ways that we might feel like we're going backwards. But what I want to emphasize is that even when these things come back around, it's not actually that we're going backwards. We are re-engaging with this pattern, this theme that is probably a deep theme that we incarnated with for the purposes of overcoming it. But we're actually moving in a spiral rather than a pattern of a circle. So we're not actually coming right back to where we've always been, but we're actually going through something that has a very similar pattern to something that we've gone through before, but we are actually at another level. So it doesn't mean that we aren't affected by it, but we are experiencing it on the shoulders of the previous versions of ourselves who have overcome this, and we're on a higher level. So there was actually a podcast that I had with, oh gosh, his name I think was Michael Patterson. I think it was Michael Patterson. I'll try to find it and put it in the show notes when I'm done recording. But he talked about this. He's a a therapist, and I loved how he talked about how these things come and it's actually this spiral rather than a circle. But really, everything that we're going through in our lives, including the challenges, including even stagnation, even if we feel like we're not going anywhere, it's all grist in the mill. It's all there for us to kind of have something to rub up against so that we can move forward. It kind of gives us that traction to be able to move through something. So it is important to remember that we actually never get anywhere without overcoming things. That is how we progress. It's through growth. And how do we grow if we never have any challenges? And so when we have challenges, it can feel like things are out of alignment, that our life isn't in harmony. It can feel very uncomfortable, but it's very much like going to the gym. So when you go to the gym, do you just sit there and lift weights with no resistance? Or do you do a spin class with nothing, with the gears really low so that you're actually never pushing against anything? I mean, you can do that, but you're not going to really notice any changes because you're not challenging yourself. Your muscles and all the parts of your body that you want to be improved through the act of working out, they need that resistance. They need that tension so that they can. I mean, that's how the muscles work, where there's resistance and we get stronger. We physically get stronger through that resistance. And the same thing happens in the spiritual world. So I just encourage you as the challenges arise, as things show up, don't feel defeated because you're going through some kind of a challenge. Don't feel that you're being tested even necessarily, or that, I mean, sometimes we think of it as like, well, maybe it's karma. Maybe I'm paying back. I'm being punished because I did something, earlier in my life or in another life or whatever. It's not punishment. I mean, you don't have to see it that way. It's here for you. It's okay, let's see, you've done all this work on yourself. Let me present to you an opportunity and let's see how you do with this challenge. Let's flex your muscles and see how you handle this. And it's an opportunity to really step into who you are and to approach something from the highest version of who you are. And that highest version is available to all of us. We all have multiple versions of who we are, multiple timelines in the quantum. And so at any given time, we have an invitation to align ourselves with the highest version of who we are. And that is the opportunity when we're having challenges, when we feel like we're going backwards, when we feel like we're maybe not moving at all. It's all ultimately to help propel us forward and make us stronger. So thank you so much for tuning in. And tomorrow, which will be Thursday, November 21st at 1 p.m., I have a live stream with Mark Anthony, psychic explorer, psychic medium, Mark Anthony. He is incredible. I had him on a previous episode of Meditation Conversation. This one's going to be live, so you can join us. I will put the link in the show notes. But if you go to my website, karagoodwin.com, and you go to live stream events, he's right there at the top. We're going to be talking about the mysteries of King Tut's tomb, of King Tut's curse. He's done some incredible investigations and research on this topic. I love talking about ancient Egypt and the mysteries of life all around us. So please join us for that. And thank you again for joining, and I will see you next time.